Oh, again, what did I hear? What did I hear? Okay, I know. This morning, I turned on the set and flipped it to Fox. Saw a little clip of Judge Neapolitano. He was being interviewed by the talking heads, and they were discussing Hillary Clinton's Watergate. Well, actually, if you take a look at it, what Nixon did is minuscule into comparison what Hillary's done. What was discussed is that according to what's being reported, the FBI has assigned between 100 and 150 agents digging into the foundation events and the server. Apparently, there's absolute definitive proof that Hillary had ordered subordinates to remove top secret label and just fax it to her. Not on a secure fax machine, but on your everyday home fax machine. Now, once that's proven to be the case, Hillary can't keep saying, well, I'll never fax anything that said top secret. No, you might not have, because you had that information removed according to what's surfaced. The foundation is another problem. As eloquent as Billy Bob might be, nobody's worth $750,000 to give a speech unless there's something at the other end for having given that speech. And a number of these high-paying speeches were done by Billy Bob during Hillary's reign as Secretary of State. There is some question, actually more than some question, about a deal that was done with the Russians to give them control of a vast amount of uranium that's in Canada. That was done during Hillary's reign as Secretary of State by someone that's tied in to the Clinton Foundation. During her reign, once again, as Secretary of State. Now the question that was asked is, okay, so we know what Petraeus did. Speaking of Petraeus, I heard a little bit of Sean Hannity, and Sean didn't elaborate it sufficiently, I don't think. He referred to General Petraeus, that General Petraeus had shown some information to his girlfriend, or had his girlfriend have access to some information. It was in his desk unlocked drawer, and it was his calendar, his work schedule. But what Sean didn't say is that his mistress had Secret Service clearance. So if she had Secret Service clearance, what difference does it make, as Hillary would say? But we know that Hillary had given her attorney a thumb drive of the information contained on her server. Her attorney doesn't have Secret Service clearance. We also know that her server was in the bathroom of a startup company in Colorado. The employees there don't have Secret Service clearance. In either case, there's little doubt that what Hillary's done dwarfs anything that Nixon might have done, which forced Nixon's resignation. Hillary has denied having done anything illegal. She said the report by Fox News from Catherine Heritage, who said that there's a massive investigation and things are expected to come to a head relatively soon. The question then was asked, okay, Judge Neapolitano, let's say that the FBI goes ahead and puts a case together. Well, it's up to the Attorney General, Loretta Lynch. If Loretta Lynch chooses not to prosecute, they won't prosecute. The question then was asked, what happens if that happens? And the judge, Neapolitano, said, well, there'd probably be a massive walkout, which would dwarf anything that happened during Watergate. There'd be massive resignations. The problem that Hillary has is massive. Yet, you have to ask yourself a question. How is it that anyone would vote for someone that has all of these controversies swirling around her? Well, obviously, they're not that bright. I'm referring to Democrats. They're not that bright. I think that Hillary could have a nervous breakdown, or she could have a stroke. The amount of pressure that must be building in her would be mind-boggling. I mean, here's a woman whose whole focus has been to break the glass ceiling. It's not going to happen. And when the realization of that takes place, again, she could have a stroke, nervous breakdown. A whole multitude of events could take place. Now, let's assume that Loretta Lynch doesn't prosecute. Well, then it's a matter of Paul Ryan and the House of Representatives putting together articles of impeachment against the Attorney General, Loretta Lynch. The reality of that happening is probably minuscule, but if it did happen, what might happen if she's found guilty? Well, then we've got the usurper, Barack Hussein Obama, with his pen. He can pardon her. And for all we know, he's already cut a deal with Hillary. Hillary and Bill were one of the first birthers. They might know a whole lot more than we know with the resources that they have at their disposal. In other words, it might be quid pro quo. You scratch my back, I'll scratch yours. Hillary might not be all that concerned about a prison sentence because they've already cut a deal with the chosen one, Barack Hussein Obama. There's no question that something has to happen, and it has to happen relatively soon. But sort of what I think seems to be what a lot of other people think. I guess the question now is, what do you think?